Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. Now in today's session, we are going to start with a new chapter that is reproduction in animals. Basically, you must be knowing the basic criteria or the basic characteristic features of the living things, right? What are the important properties of living things? Living things are those which are able to grow. They can obtain food from outside and digest it within their body, right? Or they can synthesize food for themselves, isn't it? So as to regulate their different body systems. Besides that, they can respire, they can move from one place to another, and so on. So these are the basic functions like circulation, respiration, digestion. All these are the basic properties or the basic processes which are required for the survival of an individual. Whether it is a plant or it is an animal, they have to follow or they have to perform these basic functions for their own survival, isn't it? Now, these processes are related with the survival of an individual. But there is another process which is required for the continuation of life. Getting my point? The process which help in the continuation of life of an organism or the life on earth or the continuation of species. So such a process is actually maintained, or such a thing is maintained by the process of reproduction. So reproduction, basically, it helps in maintaining the number of organisms, and secondly, it helps in the continuation of life on our planet. So now in today's session, let us understand that what this process is actually and how it occurs in the animals. Fine. So this word reproduction, here you can see this this part, that is re. Re means what? Again. And production, it means to produce, right? So basically this reproduction is related to the production of new individuals from the existing ones. This is what the basic meaning of the word reproduction. So now how can we define this reproduction process? The process by which all living organisms produce offspring of their own type. So the term or this part which is used here in the definition, that all living organisms, right? So this suggests that this is one of the important feature or the important process which is taking place in the living organism, or it is one of the criteria so as to decide whether something is alive or not. Fine. Secondly, one important thing I should mention here is that reproduction is required for the maintenance of life, right, on earth. But it is not so that if the reproduction is not taking place, the organism, the individual organism is not able to survive. It is nothing like that. So therefore I am repeatedly saying this thing, that reproduction is required for the maintenance of the number of organisms in the population, and secondly for the continuation of life on the earth. Fine. So as we are saying, these organisms, they are able to produce offspring. The young ones which are produced, they are known as the offspring, right, of their own type. This is something very important while we are defining the process of reproduction. Why I am saying of own type? Because it is never possible that a particular species can give rise to, or it can produce, the different type of organism. Dogs will never produce the cats. Human beings will never produce the monkeys. Right. So whatever individual or whatever type of organism is reproducing, the young one which is going to be produced is going to be of the parental type only. Now if this thing is happening, now can you imagine why it is so? What is happening during this process due to which the organisms which are produced, they are similar to their parental generations? What happens is the transmission of characters. Whatever code is there for the characteristic features in the parental generation, they are transmitted in the next generation. And is when this transmission occurs, definitely the information is, or the physical appearance or the basic constitution of that new offspring will be identical or similar to the previous generation. And this information, you know how it is transferred? It is transmitted in the form of genes. So genes, they are the hereditary unit of life, right? So such an inheritance helps in the coping of organisms. It helps in the production of the new organisms. Now the point is that how it is taking place, how the process occurs. So students, basically there are two modes of reproduction, and they are the sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. And I hope that you must be aware of these two types of reproduction. The basic fundamental feature must be clear to you about the reproduction. But actually how it happens, that is whether it is sexual or it is asexual reproduction, how it occurs, what is the basic difference between the two, and how this transmission is taking place in each case. So the basic difference is that in the sexual reproduction, as the name is suggesting, sexual part of our body are involved. Whereas asexual reproduction, the this prefix, it suggests the absence. So in this case, it suggests that there is no involvement of the sexual parts of the body. Now again, if these two things are we are focusing on these two things, then how it is taking place. So one by one we will discuss about each type of process, and we'll try to understand the basic phenomena or the basic characteristic features of each type. So let us first begin with the sexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction, as I already said, that it involves the sex organs of our body, isn't it? Now basically students, you know that there are two types of sexes, that is male and the female. So male and female organs are involved in this type of process. Exactly which part is responsible for the production of the new organism? So that is going to be more clear if we will go through this particular definition. So it is defined as the process of production of new organisms due to the fusion of male and a female gamete. And these male and female gametes, from where these gametes are coming, they are provided by the male and female individuals respectively. Now, from this you can understand that the sexual parts that we are saying that are involved in the sexual reproduction, they are the gametes. Now, what are these gametes? The gametes, they are the specific cells of our body which are actually participating in the process of reproduction. Further, as I said, that sexual parts or sexual organs are involved. So it is not merely this particular cell which is involved in the process, but the entire reproductive system which is involved in the production of these gametes, right? Then those which are involved in the maintenance of these gametes, as well as the maintenance of secondary structure of our body, secondary growth in our body. All together they are known as the sexual parts. But these particular parts, they are having different roles in the reproductive system. Some of the parts, they are actually involved in the secretion of hormones, and those hormones, they are responsible for the secondary growth in our body. I hope you understand what is secondary growth. The secondary growth which is taking place during the adolescence period, during the puberty. That means which are related to, let us say, the development of the reproductive parts of our body. Then in females, the development of breast in them. Then the beginning of menstrual cycles in the females. In the males, the production of sperms. Besides the deepening of voice, All these characteristics, they are the secondary growth, they are the secondary characteristics in our body, isn't it? Now the point is, beside these hormones and the secondary structural growth, the special feature or special thing that is happening in our body is the production of the gametes, male gamete and the female gamete in the different organism, of course, male as well as in the female. So these gametes, these are the special cells which will fuse together, and when they will fuse, they will form the zygote, right? And thus they are further developing into the individual or the in the embryo and the new organism. Fine. Now this type of process, it occurs in higher plants as well as in the animals. And of course, if I'm saying this higher plants and animals, then definitely what I mean by this is that those particular organisms in which the reproductive parts are well developed. If these reproductive parts are well developed, then only the sexual reproduction is possible. You know, there are some organisms in which the male and female reproductive parts are located on the separate body. And of course, there are the other organisms in which these parts are present on the same body. If they are located on separate individual body, then these type of organisms are known as unisexual organisms. Whereas if the sexual parts are located on the same individual body, then they are known as bisexual organisms. So can you think of some examples here? Unisexual, we ourselves, the human beings, the best example to understand here. Human beings, dogs, cows, monkeys, all these are unisexual, right? Many insects that you can look around, they are coming in the same category. Then what about the bisexual? Let us say, for example, earthworm. It is a hermaphrodite or it is a bisexual organism, right? Similarly, there are many plants which can be either unisexual or they can be bisexual. So these type of organisms are present in our surrounding, and the process of reproduction, how it takes place in them, of course by the contribution of the male and female reproductive cells. Which type of cells? The gametes, right? Now let me explain you that how these male and female organisms which are providing the gametes, how it helps in the process of reproduction. So sexual reproduction, of course the sex organs are involved. I hope it is very clear, right? Now it is like sex organs, of course they are of two types, male and female, and each is equally required. Each is equally responsible for the production of new organism. A single individual cannot perform the process. If this reproduction has to occur, these male and female reproductive parts, they have to participate. Now the male organism, it will produce the sperms. Sperm, in other terms, we can say that it is a male gamete. You know from where this sperm is coming? This sperm is, of course, it is in the male body, but which part of male organism is producing this particular sperm? It is produced by the testes. The testes is responsible not only for the production of sperms, but even it is required for the secretion of sex hormone, and that is known as testosterone. This testosterone, it regulates the production of sperms as well as it helps in the secondary growth of an organism. It prepares the male organism to participate in the process of sexual reproduction, because only after this secondary growth they are producing the sperms and then they are participating in the process of reproduction. Now these males, they are producing not only a single sperm, but they are producing millions of sperms here. But in the case of human beings, there is only a single sperm which is actually going to fuse with the ovum. I'm highlighting this human being as it is very easy to understand. Right, we can practically understand these particular things. Now the second thing is that the female body or the female organism, it is responsible for the production of eggs, or it is known as the ovum. Ovum is a singular form, and for the plural form of this ovum is ova. In the case of human beings, of course, we have to understand with this aspect only. So this ovum, the ovary is secreting only a single ovum, right? Uh, Before that, I must say that female, in the case of female organism, it is ovary which is responsible for the production of eggs or the ovum. Besides this, ovary is also responsible for the secretion of sex hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone. These estrogen and progesterone, they are responsible for controlling the production of the eggs, as well as they are responsible for what? For the secondary growth in the female organism. So we can say these sex hormones basically they prepare the body to participate in the process of reproduction, right? Besides this, sperm is small in size and it is motile in nature. Small, we can say that sperm is the smallest cell in our body, and motile because they are having the tail. If you know, if you just remember, you can recall it from previous chapters that there are different shapes of these shape and size of cells. So a sperm is considered as the smallest cell in the body, and it appears something like this. I can show you here. This is the oval shaped structure, and this small tail is there. So this particular structure, it is actually motile in nature because of the presence of the tail. So this tail helps in the transfer of sperms, or it helps the sperm to reach the ovum. Ovum on the other hand is larger in size comparatively and is responsible or is considered to contain the reserve food material or the yolk material. This food material or this reserve food is required for the initial nourishment of the fused cell or the fertilized egg. And what happens in the reproduction here now? During the reproduction process, if this sperm is able to reach the ovum, then the fusion will take place. And this fusion of sperm and ovum, or the male and the female gamete, is known as fertilization. Once this fertilization is done, the resulting cell which is produced, the fused cell, is known as the zygote. Now further, this zygote, it is now going to grow further. It will start dividing. The single cell will divide into two cells, two will divide further into four, and so on. The division process will start, or it will continue. During this division, it will get implanted in the uterus, right? And then it is going to grow into the form of embryo, then in the fetus, and once the fetus is completely developed, the mature organism is going to it will develop. So this is how this in the sexual reproduction the process is going on. Now whether it is a plant or animal or the other any type of organisms which are performing the sexual reproduction, in that case structure of sperms and ovum may vary, but the basic principle behind the process is of course the same. That is, it proceeds with the fusion of male and female gamete, which results in the formation of zygote. And then the zygote, it is developing and is going to produce the embryo and the further living organism. So this is the general concept about the sexual reproduction. And as I said that different types of organisms, they are showing this sexual reproduction. So now we will study about the different organisms which are reproducing by the sexual mode of by the sexual mode, right? First of all, we will study about the human beings, and that we are going to continue in the next session. So till then, go through the studies very well, and then we will continue later. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.